Hi YouTube, what's up? Today we're not gonna have any gameplay, we're gonna do something completely different. We are going to make a tier list of all the expansions that ever came out in Hearthstone. So I'm just gonna score all of the expansions you see here below. I had some help from Jambray because I didn't play during the first few expansions, so we're gonna use his expertise. And at the end of the video, I want to know what you think, if you agree with my tier list, which expansions did you like more than I did or less than I did, and just let me know in the comments what you think. So we're just gonna instantly get started. We have a few expansions to cover here, 26 in total. Let's get started. Next Ramas. Well, I didn't play yet. It came out in 2014. I started playing in 16. So I don't know. I don't even know any of the cards. They were not in standard anymore. But Jambry told me this expansion was really good. People liked playing it. It had cards like Low Tap and the Undertaker, which I know by name but never got to play. So we're gonna rate it an A. Then the second one is Goblin versus Gnomes. And Jambray told me people were okay with it. They liked it, but not as much as Next Ramas. It had cards like Dr. Boom in it. There was a Mech Mage that people played. It saw that the cards saw play but weren't as good as Next. So I'm gonna give it a B. Then next up we have Black Rock. It came out in 2K15, so a bit before my time again. Jambry told me people really liked this one. It was the expansion that had Grim Patron, which I have heard rumors of but never got to play it. We're gonna rate this an A again based on what Jambry told me. Okay, that's an A. Then next is the Grand Tournament. Came out August 2K15, long time ago. Jambry said this one was not good. It was very underwhelming. It had some cards to support the Secret Paladin that people played, but I think the general consensus was that this expansion was not that good. So we're gonna rate this one a D. I'm sorry, Grand Tournament, you're the first D. Okay, next up is the League of Explorers, and Jambry said this was maybe even an S tier expansion. It's the last one that came out before I started playing, so I probably saw some of the cards that were still in standard, but I can't really rate the expansion itself. So I'm gonna give it an S because Jambry seemed to really like this one. There you go. Explorers goes to S. Then the next one is Whispers of the Old Gods. This is the first expansion that came out when I started playing. This one came out in April 2016, and I started playing in the summer of 16. So when I started playing, all these cards were in standard. This one had all the old gods in it, like Khatun, Unzot, you know. I really enjoyed all the Unzot, the Khatun decks with all the support, buffing the Khatun and then trying to kill your opponent with all the pew-pews going face, hopefully. Because it was my first expansion and I enjoyed it so much, I'm gonna rate this an A. Just for the nostalgia. And this is really the expansion that lured me in, and I never stopped playing after that. So I want to say that is what a good expansion does. Okay, then we have One Night in Karazhan, which was an adventure, not a full set. It had some cards in it like Barnes and the Portals. I don't know if you remember these. Personally, this was not a very memorable one for me. It did have a good theme song, but the cards itself weren't that great for me. So I'm gonna rate this a C. One Night in Karazhan, okay. Then we have Mean Streets of Gadgetzan. This was the expansion with patches. So I think patches was very impactful. It's still very good in Wild, I think. And if it were in Standard, I think Pirate Warrior might be playable. So patches, good card. We also had the Jade support, Jade Druid, Jade Shaman. Don't know if you remember these, but these were pretty good cards. There was also Dragon Priest, I think was a meta. I think the set was okay. I didn't like enjoy it that much, but not enough to like score it really low. So I'm gonna go with a B for Mean Streets of Gadget-san. There you go. Okay, next. This is a banger, guys. Journey to Ungoro. It's the dinosaurs. I really like this expansion. It had all the like quest cards for the first time, I think. Also, it had like the Sunkeeper Tarim. I don't know if you remember that. Made all the minions on your board 3/3s. So you could play like a lot of smaller cards and then buff them with the Sunkeeper Tarim in like a mid-rangey paladin deck that I used to play a lot. So this one is going to S tier for me, I think. Journey to Ungoro. Also, you might remember the Ben Brode rap. That was really good. Okay, Journey S tier. Okay, the next one is Knights of the Frozen Throne. This had some hero cards introduced for the first time. Also, Calisat. I don't know if you remember that one. It like, if you didn't have any 2-drops, it would buff all the minions. Give it +1/+1 in your deck. Personally, this was not a very good meta for me, I think. So I'm gonna rate this a C. Right, there we go. Then we have Kobolds and Catacombs. It came out December 17. It had some cards like Cube. The Cube, I don't you remember that one in Warlock. The Cube block was a really popular deck. Also, it had Call to Arms, it had King Togwaggle and Master Oakheart. Those were like cards I really enjoyed playing in Druid. So I think this one was like good, but not S tier. I'm not even sure it's A tier, but it's definitely like a solid B for me, I think. The Kobolds and Catacombs. Then what do we have next? Witchwood. Well, yeah, released in April of 2018. It had Baku and Gan. I think everyone remembers that, right? Because they got Hall of Famed after only 1 year, because everyone was only playing odd or even decks. So I think the cards were really strong. It also had Shudderwock, this expansion, and I know all of you remember this Shudderwock. So the expansion was probably very strong, introducing odd and even. I think it was a cool mechanic that I think I wouldn't mind if they brought it back for a little bit, but I do understand them Hall of Faming it after only 1 year. Let's give it a B as well. The Witchwood. Okay, next up is the Boomsday Project. This came out August 2K18, and it had all the mech support. Remember, there were like tons of mechs. There was Ziliax as well. There was Mechatoon. There was the Dr. Boom hero card in Warrior. That was really strong. It even got nerfed, I believe. Personally, I really enjoyed playing with the mechs, and I qualified for a Masters Tour playing Mech Hunter in one of the Open Cups. So for me, this was a good expansion, playing all these mechs. So I'm gonna rate it an A. Boomsday Project. Then we have Rastakan's Rumble. This one came out in 2K18, December 2K18. For me, it wasn't a very memorable one. I had to look it up and like see which cards were in it. And the only like really the card I played a bit was Shirvala in the OTK Paladin. Like all the other cards were like, I just had a bit of a meh feeling about them. So this was probably, for me at least, not a very good expansion. So it's going in the D tier for me. I'm sorry, Rumble. Not that good for me. Okay, next up we have Rise of Shadows. This one came out April 2K19, and it had some support for Bomb Warrior, which was a really cool deck that I really enjoyed playing. But it also gave us the Grand Archivist Elysiana meta, which I don't know if you remember, but that led to incredibly long matches in the Open Cups. where everyone was playing Fatigue Warrior with Elysiana, which I did not enjoy that much. It also introduced the lackeys. I think it was a solid expansion. I didn't like enjoy it that much personally, so we're gonna give this a C. I don't think it was terrible. It doesn't deserve to be in the D category, but C is probably where it belongs for me. Okay, then we have Saviors of Uldum. We got back our explorers this expansion, and this was the expansion that introduced Zephrys and all the Highlander support decks. And I think, like, thinking and looking back of all the decks I enjoyed most, Highlanders were definitely in the top of all the expansions. Like the Highlander Hunter, the Highlander Mage, the Highlander Rogue, even. Like, this was just a lot of fun. I really did like it. So I'm gonna give this an S tier because I'm, to this day, still hoping they will print more Highlander support. So that for me shows that it was a very good expansion. And I would like to see more of Highlander. Okay, we only have a few more left. Let's see. Next up is Descent of Dragons, which came out December 2019, and it introduced us to the Galakron meta. I don't know if you remember this, but at the start of the expansion, like, some of the Galakron stuff was mega overpowered and everyone was playing it. I think it was the Shaman. It was just too good and it had to be nerfed. So I think that the expansion itself was very strong. I wasn't a big fan of Galakron itself. Maybe because it saw that much play and it got a bit boring after a while. But like, it was an impactful expansion, I think. So we are gonna rate it a B. Descent of Dragons. Right. Okay, the next one, let's see. The next one is Ashes of Outland. This one came out in April of 2020 and introduced us to a new class for the first time, Demon Hunter. Now, if you remember this, if you remember when Demon Hunter came out, it was super strong. Everyone was playing Demon Hunter and they had to nerf a bunch of cards after a few weeks. So, a few days even. So yeah, Demon Hunter made quite the impression in the first few days of the expansion. It was really, really good. But there are some other cards that were introduced here as well. Don't know if you remember it, but there was Incanter's Flow, which was a pretty good card in Mage. You were always just hoping to insta-draw that card and win your games. Also, we got Libram Paladin, which was like a new archetype for Paladin, which I did personally enjoy playing. I think a lot of people found it to be a bit boring, but I did not hate it. I'm gonna rate Ashes of Outland B, because I think it was good. It was just a bit, like, the Demon Hunter was a bit overpowered, I think. I don't know if they expected it to be that way, or if that turned out to be a surprise and they just had to, like, quickly nerf stuff. I still don't know if that was like a promo thing. Maybe they just wanted everyone to play Demon Hunter, but they managed to do that anyway. Okay, let's go to the next one, which is Scolomancy. The Scholomance Academy came out in August of 2020, and it introduced us to Mozaki Mage. Also, Mindrender Elucia. I think everyone remembers that card. Everyone was screaming for nerfs because that card was so frustrating. And it also gave us a Weapon Rogue. So I think this was like the expansion that gave us more OTKs, more combo stuff that a lot of people liked, a lot of people really hated. I was on team hate, so I did not enjoy this, and I'm gonna give this a C. I'm not into the combo stuff, sorry guys. Okay, moving on, we have the Dark Moon Fair. Came out November 2020, and that gave us the Old Gods came back for this expansion. Also, Ilginoth, which enabled the OTK Demon Hunter, which was a very strong, very popular deck. Not fun to play against, I think, personally. It also gave us Thickatus, which I know lots of people were always complaining about. Because if you could make your opponent lose the 5 top decks, the 5 top cards of their deck. So it was kind of like a combo counter in a way, like hoping to disrupt. I didn't mind it that much, but I saw lots of people complaining about it. But at the same time, I don't think this expansion was that great for me in terms of meta, so I'm gonna give it a C. It wasn't like terrible, but not that memorable for me, so I'll just go to C. Okay, here, let's see. Forged in the Barrens came out March of 2021. And like this is still in standard at the moment, and it gave us the card Mankrik, which did saw a lot of play at the early stages of the expansion. Not so much now anymore. There is some Muro still in play. Celestial Alignment Druid, that was a thing. It even got nerfed. And it has the Pig Mage package, like Wildfire and Mordresh. Did I like this expansion is the question. I like, even now I'm just thinking about it, wondering like, did I really enjoy it? Did I like what it did for the meta? And I want to say I just don't know. So I'm gonna give it a C because it wasn't that memorable, I think, for me. Forge in the Barrens goes to C. Right. We only have 5 left now, so we're getting to the ones that are currently still in standard. So they're a little bit easier to judge, I think. Next up is United in Stormwind, which came out August of 2021. And it had, like, some of the cards are still played a lot, like Peasant, the Viper to remove a weapon, the Gnoll, just as a good card to take some trades or to evolve it in Evolve Shaman. There's Lady Prester that currently is seeing a bit of play again in Druid, and it gave us the quest cards that are currently still in standard. Like, not too long ago, even, they had to nerf the Demon Hunter quest again. So, like, these cards are still played. Did I like this expansion a lot is the question. I'm, again, like, struggling a little bit to see how powerful it really was. Like, did I enjoy it? Did I like the cards in this expansion? I don't know. Just, they were not memorable enough for me, so I'm gonna give this a C as well. United in Stormwind. Okay, we're getting closer to, like, the end of the tier list already. Next one is a Fractured in Alterac Valley. This came out December of 2021, and it introduced us to the hero cards that are currently still in play. It also had Rune that is still played in Mage to this day, in the big spell Mage mostly, and Contraband Stash that is played in the current versions of Thief Rogue, which does rotate in April of this year, but those cards are still here right now. I think when it first came out, I did enjoy playing with the hero cards and the Contraband Stash, and I still really do like the Rune. So I want to give this expansion a B rating. I don't think it was bad. I think it had some fun stuff for me personally, things that I enjoy, like the Rune, like the big spell Mage, things like that. So I will maybe be a bit sad when these cards leave standard in a few months from now. Okay, then we have Voyage to the Sunken City. I think this one has the best theme song ever. I still use it to this day on my stream, like in my stream starting soon screen. So you can have a little party in the Sunken City. It also has the Finley that I loved so much, this artwork, that I got it tattooed on my leg. But now let's talk about the cards. Some of the cards are still played. Okani is played, Queen Ajara is still played, and it gave us the Colossal minions, which I think were really cool. Most of them do see play. We even get a new Colossal for the Death Knight, so I think the Colossals were a success. So I think I'm gonna give Sunken City an A rating. Also, just because I really love the artwork and the style and like the whole theme going on. The crab raves before the expansion launched. Yeah, I think everything around this expansion just had a really fun, positive vibe that I enjoyed. So A for Sunken City. So we have only 2 more, guys. And the second to last one is Murder in Castle Natria, August 2022. This one was, I think, a very frustrating expansion because we got the Natrias, which before it was nerfed, got infused every time a minion died. So everyone was playing the Natrias. Everyone was playing Theosar in their decks as well. That's another card from this expansion that people were asking to get nerfed for so long before it actually happened. It even got nerfed a few times, I think, and it still sees play. We also got locations. I think that was a very cool idea. I enjoy playing the locations. And I wouldn't mind if they introduced more locations in expansions to come. So I think locations was a very good idea. And for Demon Hunter, we got the Relic archetype, which is something I really enjoyed playing as well, like when it first came out. I know people are trying it again now after the quest got nerfed. So I feel a bit conflicted because on the one hand, I really liked the locations. I liked the Relic Demon Hunter, but I really, really hated the first months of the expansion with everyone playing the Natrias and Theosar in their decks. Also, Renatal, something I almost forgot to mention. Renatal is something that came out with this expansion as well. And personally, I did not like 40 card decks that much because it made the games unnecessarily longer. A bit more frustrating to play against it as well. But like all in all, I think the expansion was really strong. So I'm not sure if I should rate it like a C because I didn't really enjoy it and I felt so frustrated playing against these decks. But at the same time, locations, yes. Some of the decks, yes. This is a very hard one because I feel conflicted, but I think I should still give it a B. I don't want to be too negative. So let's go Murder at Castle Natria B. And then this is the very last one, guys. The last expansion, March of the Lich King, came out, I think December of 2022, only a few months ago. And it gave us a new class again, the Death Knight class, which at the start of the expansion was a bit underwhelming because everyone was thinking like it's going to be OP again. You know, they introduced Demon Hunter. It was so strong and everyone was playing it, but the Death Knight class seemed a bit underwhelming, and like a lot of cards had to get buffed in order to see play. Other meta decks had to get nerfed in order for the DK to see play. So all in all, I think it was very cool to introduce a new class. It was just a bit overwhelming at first, but right now, after some balance changes, I think the meta is actually in a good place. So I think I did enjoy the March of the Lich King set anyway. So I'm gonna rate it B because it's like kind of like in the middle, right? DK, or should we rate it an A? Is it that good though? Nah, I'm sorry, I'm not really sure. I think I'll rate it a B. I'm not gonna change my mind. No. Okay, this is what my tier list looks like, guys. So in the S tier we have League of Explorers, Journey to Ungoro, and Saviors of Uldum. Those are like the best 3 ones, I think, for me. And then in the D tier, we have the Grand Tournament and Rastakan's Rumble. Those expansions were really like the worst ones, in my opinion. So I really, really want to hear what you think about this tier list. Do you agree with it? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments which your S tier picks are and what your D tier picks are. I'm really interested to hear that. And thanks for watching, everyone. I had a lot of fun rating these expansions, and I think from now on, I will be doing a tier list every week on Sunday to have some like variety content, some light content, just having fun talking about stuff. And I hope you enjoyed it as well. If you did, please subscribe to my channel, like it, comment, just anything to help me is really appreciated. And I'll see you again next time. Bye, everyone.